I'm a big fan of Overly Sarcastic Productions and miscellaneous myths, but today I wanted to give blue a shot and look at some history summarized. Although on Monday, I am going to be taking another look at red and miscellaneous myths Loki, and if enough people like, enough people subscribe, you're going to get a special intro from Loki himself. Welcome back, friends, and a special welcome to all the new friends out there. I'm YoBGS, and yes, I did just try to bribe subscribers with a special cat intro on Monday. I'm serious, my cat's name is Loki, and I'm gonna show him to you for the miscellaneous myths Loki if enough people want to see him. But today is gonna be interesting. We're looking at something a little bit different, and not just because it's blue. So blue does history summarized, red does miscellaneous myths, and well, we've got Pope Francis here. Hi, hi, Francis, how's it going? I've not seen blue before, so I have no idea what his style is gonna be like. All I know is I'm excited for this, and I cannot wait to get into it.
I think that being a good person is a prerequisite for being the holiest guy in Christendom. You might imagine that the Pontifex Maximus would never be the type of person to leverage their divine responsibility for such earthly trifles as material gain or political expediency.
I mean, well, and then you don't even have to go back farther than Pope Benedict, who allegedly did some allegedness around the time of World War II to know that.
Well, to that, I say that you have clearly never seen a good old-fashioned Pope fight. Pope fight? Yes. Pope.
Oh, I love this. Okay, I love that blue has got his own like little scenic manner here with Aristotle, the complete works of Shakespeare, literary. Oh shoot, my def is too low.
Fight. So, for the next 9 minutes, allow me to take you back in time, to a simpler time, when the Western Roman Empire had disintegrated and the land around the city of Rome itself was governed by the only guy in town who had any semblance of power. The Pope.
The Pontiff.
For over 1,000 years, the papal states
ain't no authority like spiritual temporal authority, because spiritual temporal authority means I have control of literally everything. That's not how the rap goes.
Ruled over the center of Italy while overseeing the religious life of all of Europe. While today's Pope is almost solely a spiritual leader,
Jesus, eternal life, yada yada, now buy more indulgences already.
Popes were functionally kings, and boy, did they act like it. With the stage set, let's go down to the ring for tonight's first Pope fight!
Let's go!
In one corner, he's lean, he's mean, he's 20 years old and became Pope through bribery and nepotism, it's Benedict IX!
Benedict IX! Dude, who needs YouTuber boxing when you've got Pope fights?
And in the other corner we have... Wait a minute. Why are there 3 popes here? Who approved this schedule? You know what? Okay, whatever.
It's a triple threat match for the papacy! Where's Vince McMahon?
So, Benedict here didn't actually care about doing all of that complicated Jesus stuff, and he used the office to enrich his already monstrously wealthy family.
Despite the fact that he was only 20. Been drinking wine and eating from this gigantic case of Nilla wafers for 3 days straight. For some reason, the Cardinals are all... Oh. Yeah.
8 years later, and the Cardinals decided that they didn't want a greedy toddler for a leader, and they got him out of office the same way that he got in. Bribery. A priest named Giovanni fought gangster with gangster and made Benedict an offer that he couldn't refuse. Basically, Benedict sold the papacy, and Giovanni became Pope Sylvester III. Okay, so that's a pretty sacrilegious thing to do, but at least we're done.
Wait, that's actually odd, because I thought when Benedict stepped down from being Pope, Benedict XVI, the last one, that was like the first Pope that had retired. I thought used to be, if you wanted to get out of office, you had to...
Right? No. Time for round 2. So, 3 brief months later, Benedict decided that he wanted to be Pope again because he had so much fun defrauding the people of Rome the first time, so he marched an army into the city and declared himself as Pope again.
Ah, parts of Europe don't even know you left yet, so that would explain a lot.
But then, just a month after he handed the Cardinals a fresh new succession crisis, Benedict decided that he wanted out, again, so he could get married. His godfather became Pope Gregory VI, and that's it? No? Okay, round 3.
Wait, what? His godfather became Pope Gregory VI?
Father became Pope again, so he could get married. His godfather became Pope Gregory VI.
Okay, when you are asked to be a baby's godparent, I don't think at any time do you expect that that's gonna devolve into you somehow becoming Pope.
And that's it? No? Okay, round 3. It seems like beating dead horses was another one of Benedict's hobbies in addition to wholesale corruption. So, Benedict's wife-to-be noped right on out of there, and he decided that he wanted to be Pope again. Meanwhile, poor Sylvester is still out there sulking in the hills, so there are 3 people claiming to be Pope at once. To settle the matter, the Holy Roman Emperor, that is to say the German Emperor, rode into town and held a council, where he found Sylvester to have no legitimate claim, Benedict to not even slightly be worthy of being Pope, and Gregory guilty of simony. All 3 were tossed out, and a German
Simony? What is simony?
bishop became Pope Clement II. But wait, there's more! A year later, Clement II died, and who else but Benedict came strolling back to the Vatican for term number 3. 6 months later, however, the Holy Roman Emperor had just about had enough of the antics, so he swiftly excommunicated and exiled Benedict for good.
Good! So think about what you would do if you were part of one of the wealthiest families in the world, right? Right now, what you'd probably do is go to space, because that seems to be what everyone is doing. But think about it. If you took a job that you didn't like, why would you do that 3 more times? If you go to a restaurant and you find a Minecraft figurine, I don't know, it's right in front of me. If you found one of these in your burger, are you gonna go back and have 2 more burgers just to be sure?
One cardinal called him a demon from hell in disguise as a priest, which is pretty hardcore, especially for a priest. But honestly, to me, the most shocking part is that he didn't try for a 4th time. Benedict definitely qualifies as a meme pope, words I never imagined saying back to back. Given this colossal mess, it might be little surprise that the Greek Orthodox Church of the Byzantine Empire broke off from Catholicism for good just 6 years later.
I mean, that's fair. Although I wanted to say it's weird to me that bodies of land have, religious authority, but let's face it, it's 2022 and that's still the case. It's just weird that an entire country would be like, we're Catholic. Nah, maybe not so much.
Well, there you have it, folks. The final score for our first Pope fight is Benedict 3, sticking to a decision for more than 20 minutes, 0. Okay, but now we're done, right?
No.
Oh boy, check the timestamp, kiddo. We're just getting started over here. So, let's move on to our next Pope fight this evening, and there's no one here.
Vacancy?
Well, see, to avoid the bribes, murders, and nepotism that had plagued the papacy for a few centuries in general, and the past few years in particular, they developed what we now know as the papal conclave, where popes are elected by secret ballot to ensure a peaceful transition of divine authority through what, in theory,
we're more than 1 metric Jesus away from the last time anyone in Europe voted on anything.
it would be a just and capable line of popes. So this worked out pretty well for a couple centuries, but in 1292, 2 warring factions of cardinals drew
Maybe I should move over here because it seems like all of the text is on the left side of the screen. So this way everyone can play along.
out the conclave.
Yeah, you don't get a room like this without solid amounts of bribery. Oh, whoops. There you go. You don't get a room like this without it. The walls are made of gold.
From the usual couple weeks to 2 entire years. For 2 years, the Papal States were without its ruler and Rome was a mess. In the confusion, a hermit monk wrote to the conclave, warning the cardinals that the almighty hand of God would dope smack the eternal salvation out of them if they kept screwing around.
Is that an exact quote? Dope smack?
Wrote to the conclave, warning the cardinals that the almighty hand of God would dope smack the eternal salvation out of them if they kept screwing around all decade long. And as it happened, the cardinals were so impressed that they elected him pope, marking possibly the only instance in which anyone was hired by telling their interviewers to go to hell. I mean, hey, if it works, it works. So this...
it's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go down here. Don't mind me, I'm sorry. I know it's unprofessional, I'm just trying to get out of the way. But, it's that whole dress for the job you want kind of thing, right?
monk becomes Pope Celestine V, and he proceeds to do... nothing. Yeah, honestly, he was kind of a stooge. The only thing he ever really did in his first 5 months was help out the French allied king of Naples by appointing his mooks to church positions. Oh yeah, did I say first 5 months? I meant only 5 months. When it became unavoidably clear that the ascetic monk that had no relevant experience in running a complex bureaucracy wasn't good at his job, he went to the cardinals. And they said, "What is your first decree?" He said, "I want to be allowed to quit." "All right, what's your second decree?" "I quit."
You're a great monk, you're just a terrible pope. Isn't that a fact, though? Because it's always a fact that the people who are best suited to govern are the people who do not want to govern. So, in theory, Celestine may have had good ideas, but because he's not power hungry enough to try and keep the office, all that stuff is just gonna bog him down, so he's gonna go back. I mean, literally, the worldly possessions are futile thing. Like, I can get on board with that. Shut up.
Honestly, it makes sense. He never even wanted to be Pope in the first place. He just wanted somebody to be Pope to end the deadlock. But be careful what you wish for, because Boniface VIII became the next pope, and he wasted absolutely no time throwing Celestine in jail.
Why?
Reason being that no one had ever voluntarily abdicated the papacy like that before, and Boniface had reason to believe that someone or another would challenge his authority and try to install Celestine back in as an anti-pope to oppose him. So the obvious solution was to cut out the middleman and just toss Celestine in prison. Boniface then proceeded to undo all 0 of Celestine's actions. He mainly just cleared away his appointees and left only the very small clause about popes being able to retire. Whether Celestine died of straight-up murder or
So I'm gonna hack Dante from Florence to stop saying that I'm gonna burn in hell upside down.
or just the fact that he was
Is this
81
okay?
years
So wait, is this around the time that? Oh, yeah.
old and
duh.
in prison, Boniface basically sentenced Celestine to death. Although honestly, when faced with the choice of being dead versus being pope, I'm pretty sure Celestine got what he would have preferred. Being pope is work. And at the end
It honestly seemed like Celestine was. It sounds weird, but had more of like a Buddhist philosophy or like a Zen Buddhist philosophy than a Catholic philosophy when you think about it.
around its responsibilities,
Based on nothing other than what Blue is saying about him.
1, wanting to just go home and take a nap, 0. But who's this entering from the north? It's King Philip IV of France, and he's not happy, folks. In fact, Boniface and Philip...
This is insanity, because I just realized Pope fights are literally back to back to back to back. At least in Sam Minella's video, it was different times in history.
privately and publicly for years. At one point, Boniface wrote him a letter that literally opens with
Je
"Listen,
suis the
son,"
King of France.
which is the respectful papal way to say
Chekazo, did you just take it? I don't know what accent that is. I can't say that word. I'll have you know I graduate top of my class. Oh my god, it's the military copy pasta. It's that Marine, the Navy SEAL copy pasta. I'm training guerrilla warfare,
Hey, alright, looky here, dumbass. You're way out of your league, and if you don't shape up real soon, I'm
Dude, Blue certified dank memer, 2 thumbs up.
gonna excommunicate your sinful ass so hard you'll wish I only imprisoned and maybe murdered you. So anyway, Philip IV carried on exactly as he had before, and when Boniface prepared an order of excommunication against the king, he sent French thugs to assault him, the Pope, in his own hometown, and he died within 2 weeks. Philip ordered a hit on the Pope.
What? And then people went through with it. Like, I thought even in Boondock Saints, they're pretty good Catholic. Well, then again, Boondock Saints are not hitmen. They take out the hitmen.
Pope murderer Philip then manipulated the papal conclave to elect Clement V as the new pro-France Pope. At the end of the second period, that's French king who's way outside of their lane 1, murder Pope 0. And speaking of, that brings us to our sponsor for today's video, Pope 0.
Pope 0. Glorious. Share a pope with over a dozen
divine
names.
taste, 0 calories. Now back to the fight. It's after Clement steps into the Pope fight that things get even weirder. Philip, still high on his victory and ballsier than ever, decided to test his luck and yoinked the entire papacy itself out of Rome, out of Italy even, and moved it into Avignon, France. Starting with Clement, the Catholic Church operated in France under the authority of the French king for 68 years. Mind you, that whole time, the literal papal states were popeless. After almost 1 metric human lifetime of lavish living in the pocket of the French crown,
That's longer than 1 metric lifetime back in 1378. This isn't priestly at all. Oh, that's not going to go well for him.
Urban V and his successor Gregory XI fought bitterly against the College of Cardinals to restore the papacy to Rome. The Cardinals at this point had nicely settled into eating 10-course meals while everyone else in Europe was actively dying of plague. Because
Shocker.
That's a thing now, not that they would have known that being cooped up in the purpose-built palace of Avignon all century. But anyway, that's okay now because Gregory moved the papacy
Deep healing breaths, Blue. Deep healing breaths.
back to Rome, and even though it's definitely worse for wear after 70 years of functionally no government, the church set about restoration projects to fix
Rome was its lowest population since the Punic Wars. It was really only after the papacy came back and the myriad restoration projects started happening that Rome regained its grandeur and began to take the artful Renaissance form that we see today.
Now, that was all well and good, but Gregory's successor, Urban VI, turned out to be, well, kind of insane. As soon as he became pope, he started locking up his opponents. You know, like a
Jeez.
fascist. This was awkward because most of the cardinals were still French, so the obvious strategy for the half of the church leadership that didn't like Urban for obvious reasons was just to run off to France and elect Clement VII as their pope. Their argument was that the new Roman popes were an illegitimate offshoot of their rightful Avignon line. The Roman cardinals believed that independent of Urban VI's personal qualities, he was the rightfully selected pope. And at the end of round 4, our score is real Pope 1, faux Pope 1, but in French.
We call them fopes.
So we've had popes retire to make way for new popes, we've had former popes contesting with current popes, we've even had murder popes and pope murderers, but now Christianity saw 2 entirely separate papacies in Italy and France, each believing that the other was a one-stop shop for every lawless heretic on earth.
And that means, I'm guessing, that the popes are going to pick up their torches and pitchforks, and is there going to be a papal duel? Oh, that would be so cool.
At this point, St. Peter's probably thinking, guys, what the hell? But Jesus is just omnisciently snacking on popcorn, loving every single minute of the drama.
I believe it.
This, ladies
I'm
and
here for
gentlemen,
it.
is no ordinary pope fight. No, no, no. This was a full-on pope war.
Okay.
2 entire papacies competed for nearly 40 years, branding the other as anti-popes. Needless to say, it didn't reflect especially well on the church when a pope—
They're so mature. Also, it's almost, you almost have to watch these videos twice, once to read everything, and then the second time to listen to Blue.
is condemned as a heretic by a different pope. This went on for a while, and neither side budged, as you can imagine, but finally, cardinals from both sides met in an attempt to reconcile and succeeded in electing another anti-pope. I lost count of the rounds of this pope fight a while ago, but this is honestly getting ridiculous. The mess was mercifully
5 or 6,
concluded at the 4-year-long Council of Constance, where the second anti-pope was deposed, the Avignon anti-pope had his claim dismissed, the Roman actual pope resigned, and a new pope, Martin V, was elected by the combined council, and now we're done. Well, there were a few anti-popes tooling around for another couple decades, but nobody cared and it wasn't a problem.
But that is sort of the thing, right? Let's all be friends and leave the Pope fights behind us. I'm from the future, and I know that there are other Pope fights in the Pope fight series. But that's the thing, right? Like, at this point, because news traveled so slowly and everything was so hecked up, I'm sure there were tons of people claiming to be Pope.
As far as European Christians were concerned, the seat of the church was permanently re-established in Rome, and all of the popes between then and 2013 served for life, the way God intended. That was the year Benedict XVI became the first pope in almost 600 years to voluntarily resign, and thankfully he did so without an accompanying pope fight. And let's take one last look at the scoreboard, folks. At the end of the 5th and final round for the evening, it's lasting dignity of the medieval Catholic Church, -7, that's 1 for each succession crisis, and meme capacity of the medieval Catholic Church, maximal. Who?
Oh, never assume that the meme capacity of something is maximal. It can always go higher.
That's gotta hurt. All told, though the fighting did stop, papal mischief in general continued in various forms for another century. Between the moral depravity of the Borgia Pope Alexander VI, the Medici murder conspiracy abetting Pope Sixtus IV.
Shocker, Pope Sixtus didn't have the great... Like, you can tell by the way people are depicted in paintings what popular sentiment is of them, and I gotta believe... I don't know anything about Sixtus VP Max. What the? Is he a Pokemon? Oh no, Sixtus UP Max. Okay, so I'm gonna play my VMAX Sixtus and we're gonna get some real stuff done. But he looks like a goblin from Harry Potter. I mean, come on!
The Medici murder conspiracy abetting Pope Sixtus IV, and a lot of indulgences being sold to finance the Renaissance reconstruction of Rome, serving as the final nail in a solid gold coffin 5 centuries in the making. It may be little surprise that Martin Luther famously said,
"Hang on a minute." Martin Luther posted a note on a church door saying, "You've activated my trap card."
Quote, "Screw this, screw the church, I'll do it myself, don't at me." Harsh words. But still,
plus L plus ratio.
As far as the complete abandonment of spiritual responsibility for material luxuries goes, you just can't beat a good pope fight. Finally, and this is basically irrelevant, but it is deeply important to me that you're aware Pope Francis has a rock album. Yes, the Pope has
Are you
a
sure
rock
about
album.
that?
Other Pope Zero, Pope Francis Infinity. Play it!
This is his rock album? I mean, this is pretty awesome. The Emperor of Man loves tacos. If you ever look at a person's Patreon supporters, it can be very interesting. Time Travel Bushcraft. I love the names people pick. Like, I want to start a Patreon just so you can make up cool names and be in my videos. I feel like that could be Lord Abraxas V. I'm just saying, there's a lot of cool people here. I do follow them. They're kind of awesome. I'm hoping I can meet them at like a convention someday. Or if they need an overly sarcastic purple. I don't know. I know a lot about wrestling. I know a lot about video games. I can make videos about them, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so round 1 of Pope Fights is in the books, and my God, was that a lot to take in. That was quite a bit for 20 minutes. Religion. Am I right? Those are my closing thoughts on that. Religion. Am I right? But yeah, so if you dug this video, if you're looking forward to the Loki video, make sure you subscribe. And again, if enough people are digging the vibes, then yes, I will bring Loki in to do a special intro for my video on Monday. Hamilton coming tomorrow, probably over sarcastic on Sunday. We'll see. Take care, my friends. And as always, I will see you for the next Pope fight.